Howdy folks, I'm daring deep sea divers, delightedly diving down through darkening depths.
I'm Amber.
And here are more darkening depths for us to dive down through. So let's get started on that. Diving through Reddit. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Getting Catty with my coworker on Teams for not doing their job? I work as a receptionist taking calls for clients, and we usually do get a bunch of calls on Monday. That is probably my busiest day of the week, and there are about 4 or 5 other receptionists on my team that work together to take calls. On Mondays, I get super stressed from the amount of calls, and one of my coworkers, Liz, really doesn't like doing her job. She will frequently receive incoming calls, tell them to wait one moment please, and then transfer them to one of the other available receptionists so she doesn't have to deal with them. It gets super frustrating, especially on Mondays where we are slammed and she will just refuse to connect any of the clients to where they need to go and keep them on the line so she doesn't have to speak with them. It's super annoying, and I have been civil with her and asked her nicely to keep the hold times lower and try to assist the clients while they are on the phone instead of transferring them out immediately. She will say, "Oh, all right, okay," and then nothing will change. Yesterday, I kind of lost it after getting 5 back-to-back calls and then checking the call history. All 5 calls were sent over to me by Liz directly. I was livid and I messaged her on Teams. Liz, please stop sending calls to other team members. You're available to assist them, and it is your responsibility to do so. If I continue to see this behavior, I will have to speak with management about it. She read the message and left it at that. I told my sister about it, and she said that I should just report it outright to management immediately, but I don't want to cause any problems. I also don't like being catty at work, but I don't know how to solve the problem. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I think Opie handled this very well. The problem is that Liz is not doing her job. I understand taking calls isn't fun, but if you don't want to take calls, then don't get a job that requires taking calls. And so OP addressed things with Liz directly, and I think that's a good first step, and definitely following up with management if she keeps to shirk her job. There's nothing like, I don't remember OP's exact wording, but like petty about what she's doing.
Catty.
Oh,
She says
catty.
she's catty.
There's nothing catty about what OP is doing.
Yeah, I mean, being a receptionist, you're going to be required to take calls, plain and simple. And that's just the reality of being a receptionist. If she doesn't like her job, then maybe it's a bad fit for her and it's time for her to move on to a different job. Or maybe she can talk with the boss and find out if there's something else that she can do other than take calls. That way she can, still be on the team and do important things and take some more of the load from other people on other aspects, but then leave the calls and stuff like that to other people, right? But whatever this isn't working for OP, and there needs to be some kind of system here that works for everybody where OP doesn't feel like they are being, given these additional responsibilities where Liz should be doing her job, but just is refusing to do so. But I actually think that OP is being really generous here because I probably, at a certain point, you just have to report somebody who isn't doing their job to a manager, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Inviting a Longish Term Opposite Sex Friend that I Never Met from an Online Game to my girlfriend and I's birthday party? Where do I start? I'm a 31-year-old male and my girlfriend is a 31-year-old female. We'll call her Lucy. We met back in February, only 5 months ago, but I knew after our first date that she was the one. She's kind, caring, considerate, and sympathetic, and absolutely gorgeous. I know people will say it's just the honeymoon phase, but trust me, I've been around the block. This woman is 110% the one. Our birthdays are both in August, along with a lot of my family. So I planned a huge party on 8/8/2026. Her family, my family, and all of her friends. My plan was to propose that day. She absolutely has no idea. I started inviting people when we were only 3 or 4 months into dating because I wanted everyone who means something to us to be there. One person that I invited was my online friend Mary, a 45-year-old female, who lives 3 states away. We met playing Apex about 2 years ago through one of my best friends who will be my best man. After a few months, we exchanged numbers and mostly talked about life and Apex. She was married, I was dating someone else. Later, she went through a divorce, I went through a breakup, and we helped each other through it. I asked her advice in dating, and she asked mine. There was never any flirting, never any feelings, nothing. Just two friends helping each other move on. The moment I met Lucy, I told Mary, this girl is the one. Well, I invited Mary, and she was genuinely excited for me. She gave me the older, motherly advice, just be careful after what you've been through. I laughed and I told her that Lucy was perfect. Mary asked if she could bring a guy that she had been talking to, and I happily said yes. Mary is also one of the few people that I feel comfortable opening up to emotionally. As a guy, I don't really talk about my feelings with my close male friends. Here's where everything went wrong. I never told Lucy that Mary and I had never actually met in person. I honestly thought that I had mentioned it before, but Lucy says I never did. And I only told her this past Sunday, 7/19. She felt blindsided, disrespected, and like I hadn't been honest with her. This was never my intention. She said that I reminded her of her past relationship. I apologized and I explained everything, and immediately offered to uninvite Mary if it made her uncomfortable. So I did. Since then, Lucy talked to one of her friends, and everything has escalated. And now we haven't spoken. It's Wednesday. She stopped responding Tuesday afternoon and hasn't even opened my texts. I love this woman with everything I have. It honestly feels like I cheated on her, even though Mary has never been anything more than a friend. I hate being compared to somebody from her past when I'm nothing like him. So, am I really the jerk for inviting a friend that I've known for 2 years online but never met in person to our birthday party? Or am I being held responsible for someone else's past trauma? All right, folks, what do you think?
OP, I think the first thing is just to kind of put the brakes on things a little bit. You've been together 5 months, August, that gives you one more month, I don't know if this is the time to be popping the question. I know you say she's the one, but I would wait a little. If she's the one, then she'll be happy to wait for you. But you're already having drama and issues, and so that is a concern for me. Now, my question is, if this is a party for you and your girlfriend, why didn't you make the guest list together? It doesn't sound like this is a surprise party because she knows about it. So why are you planning all the guests and why aren't you two doing things together?
Well, I mean, I think on that front, it's really hard to say what's going on with this party because it could be that she invited some of her friends and OP's inviting some of their friends and they just wanted them together. I think, though, the whole proposing thing is a horrible idea. Like, you're proposing to somebody who you've known for 5 months in front of all of their friends and family, and that you don't think is going to cause, like, some friction there? Do you even know if she wants to be proposed to in a group of people? Is this something that she's, voiced about? Have you two talked about getting married? I mean, I know OP's like, oh, we're totally not in the honeymoon phase, but I would disagree.
Yeah, well, it seems like OP doesn't know a lot there's a lot that OP doesn't seem to know about her.
Yeah, clearly she doesn't like other women who OP might be friends with.
At least if OP hasn't met them in person.
Yeah.
So, because it sounds like she didn't have an issue until she found out that OP had only known this person online. And, that's, it is what it is. And OP can decide if that's a deal breaker or not. But I think that OP just, again, needs to put the brakes on things and they need to come together and make sure this party is really what they both want.
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably is a good idea, but I actually honestly don't even know if I think this might actually be like a blessing in disguise for OP here. I feel like this woman is controlling. I don't think that OP's known her long enough to really know whether or not she's been wearing a mask or anything like that. I mean, sometimes people will wear a mask for a long time and then they'll drop it and be like, a completely different person, and that's never a good situation, right? Yeah,
well, I mean, I think there's not enough information for me in this story to make a judgment one way or the other what her motives are here.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound like she necessarily would have an issue with other female friends that OP knew IRL.
But I don't know about that because OP doesn't mention having other female friends here, right? So, I mean, I just think, there, of course, isn't enough information in some fronts here. But I really feel like this whole, you cannot bring this person who's very, very close to you just because you never met them in person feels like a very excusey, hand wavy thing. Right.
I mean, it might be, but also like it's supposed to be a joint birthday party, and I'd feel a little weird meeting, this person who my partner is super close to for the first time at my own birthday party. I get that it's for him too, but it's like maybe there's a better time and place for that.
And there could be. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking My Sister's Depression Dog Away from Her? About 2 years ago, my parents split, and this really affected my sister, a 17-year-old female, who, about the same time, was diagnosed with depression. I'm a 24-year-old female, being a university student who lives away from home. I couldn't be there for her all the time, and when my parents divorced, it was really hard for her to find a stable place to call home. So I talked with my mom, who she chose to live with, about getting my sister a dog, in hopes to help her with recovery. We both knew that it would be challenging as my mom is part nurse, so she wouldn't be able to help with taking care of the dog as much as she would like. After a bunch of talking, we eventually got my sister a year-old poodle, and it seems to be a great thing for her. She was getting out of the house more and really taking care of herself, and with some help of the most lovely neighbor in the world, the dog was doing great too. Well, a year later, during her semester break, I went back home for a 2-week visit, and in all honesty, the first thing that I noticed was the dog was severely overweight. I asked about it, and my sister brushed it off, saying that he's just older now. Regardless, I took the dog to the vet, where I was told that he would need to be put on a diet and exercise more frequently. I told this to my sister, who was very angry that I did this behind her back. In hindsight, I should have spoken to her about this first, but she said that she would do what the vet said. And during the 2 weeks, it looked like she was doing this. Then I went back to the university. Well, when the university year ended, I went back and the dog still looked like a large spherical ball of poodle. I asked my sister about it, and she said that she had done everything the vet had asked. Well, I went back to the vet, who told me that my sister had not been back for follow-ups, and after this, I spoke to my sister about it, where she said, "It's my dog, what do you care?" This really got to me, so I took the dog to live with my dad, where I have been for the last month or so. Since then, he's back on track for his weight loss journey and looks much healthier. Over this period, my sister has been non-stop talking about getting the dog back, calling me 24/7 and getting into yelling matches in person, and I don't really know what to do. I understand that this dog has been great for her mental and physical well-being, but I feel like her actions, or lack thereof, is just abusive to the pup. But at the same time, I feel like I am hurting my sister by taking away the thing that has helped her so much over the last couple of years. Am I the jerk? Edit, all three of us discussed it over at the time, and she was really into the idea of a dog. We all talked about responsibility and managed to get the neighbor involved, who took care of him on days when my sister or mother couldn't, and also took care of his grooming once every 6 or so weeks. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, not the jerk for taking the dog away, because animals are not toys. They are living beings, and their well-being needs to come first. But I do think that there are some issues going on here, and that OP is putting a little too much on the sister. Like, she's not even a legal adult. How is she supposed to be going to the vet on her own? And like, I know OP's like, oh, my mom was a part-time nurse. Lots of people have part-time jobs, even, or full-time jobs, even in nursing, and still have pets they take care of. It's fine if the mom doesn't want to take care of the dog, but it's not a, like, jobs do not prohibit taking care of pets. So I think that this was a poorly formed plan, and I understand the sister's upset, but if she can't take care of the dog, she can't have the dog, but this shouldn't have been her dog in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe a better discussion that OP could have had with his sister is saying something like, well, if you want your dog to have a long and healthy life and be there for you for many years, then here's what you need to do to take care of them. If you don't take care of them, then they're going to die early, and then you're not going to have the dog at all, right? And kind of explaining it to them in that kind of way. And this is why you take care of animals. Well, that's not why you take care of animals. You take care of animals because it's the compassionate and right thing to do. But the fact that OP took this away without talking to the sister, or talking to the mother, who also should be looking out for the dog and also being a guardian to the dog, and even talking to the neighbor, who should be there for the dog and be a guardian for the dog. I understand the sister wanting to spoil the dog, but that isn't going to help the dog in the long term, and it's only going to hurt them, right? And I think that OP is looking out for the well-being of the animal, which is what is really important in this situation. As for whether OP is in the wrong or not, I really have a hard time judging this one, just because of the animal welfare aspect of this. On one hand, it's the sister's dog. On the other hand, this is a living creature that deserves compassion and empathy, right? So where does that all fall into this, question of like the sister's pet versus, keeping the dog healthy and happy? So it's a little bit of a sticky situation. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
What do you call a dirty hippo?
I would call it probably just a regular hippo, because it's not like hippos go out of their way to like use soap and water or anything like that. I think they're probably inherently like kind of dirty, kind of unclean. I mean, all wildlife is to a certain degree, right? Not by human standards, at least.
A hippopotamus.
Yes, yes. And I have Mega Mint. And folks, today is a very special day. It's Hippopotamus Day. So make sure to go take good care of your hippopotamus pets. Your eponymous hippopotamus pets. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday, folks. I hope your Monday is off to a great start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on proposing after 6 months.
Probably not a good idea in most circumstances.
Probably. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.